Hello everyone and welcome to Tareekh. In today's episode, we will be telling you about the first battle of Panipat, which commenced on the 21st of April 1526. But before we come to that, let us give you a bit of a background. The first battle of Panipat was between Babur, who was the first Mughal emperor, and Ibrahim Lodi, who was the last ruler of the Lodi dynasty, which was a part of the Delhi Sultanate. Now, Ibrahim Lodi was the third ruler of the Lodi dynasty. The Lodis were present in the previous dynasties also, and they played a very important part when the Sayyids were ruling just before the Lodis started, and they held important positions in the court of Sayyids. But Bahlul Lodi, who was the first Lodi ruler, he annexed Delhi, he conquered it from the Sayyids, and he became the Sultan. After Bahlul Lodi, his son Sikandar Lodi, he became the next Sultan, and he ruled for some time. And then after that, Ibrahim Lodi came to the throne. In the beginning of Ibrahim Lodi's reign, the leading Afghan nobles, they were not very happy with him, and they wanted to they had a disregard towards him and also towards his autocracy. Whereas he wanted to construct his empire on the superstructure of younger nobles, and the position that was earlier held by older nobles, he wanted to give that position to the younger nobles. This led to the persecution of nobles who had held important positions when Sikandar Lodi was the Sultan, and this led to chaos and to rebellions in the Sultanate. Ibrahim Lodi, he summoned his governor Daulat Khan, who was governing Punjab at that point of time, to come and help him out in subduing the chaos and the rebellion, but he kind of ignored it, and he sent his son Dilawar Khan to see what's happening in the capital. So when Dilawar Khan came and he saw the persecutions of older nobles, he was really shocked to see that state. And when he returned to his father, he told him the whole situation. Now Daulat Khan, when he saw this, he wrote a letter to Babur, who was ruling Kabul at that time, to come and help them and to overthrow इब्राहिम लोदी. जब हम बाबर के लीनेज देखते हैं तो बाबर के रगों में दो इम्पॉर्टेंट रॉयल फैमिलीज़ का खून दौड़ता था. एक तो आपके चंगेज़ खान है और दूसरे आपके तिमुर. So from his mother's side he has Changezi blood in him, and from his father's side he has Timurid blood in him. Babur says that from the time he had conquered Kabul to his many other victories, he was never very interested in coming to Hindustan. But कोई opportunity भी ऐसी नहीं आई थी कि वो आते. But there was a time, like especially when we talk about 1517, that was a time where the opportunity was great for him to come and conquer Hindustan. Because in 1517, Sikandar Lodi had passed away, his son Ibrahim Lodi had come to the throne, and because Ibrahim Lodi wanted to centralize the empire as opposed to the tribal policies that used to prevail in the Afghan chief societies. So that alarmed many Afghan nobles. So this gave Babur a suitable opportunity to strike.
Between 1518 and 19, Babur captured the fort of Bhira, which is in the Sargodha district of Punjab, जो अब पाकिस्तान में है. And Babur's ancestor Timur, when he came to the subcontinent, ठीक है, he took back a lot of riches and resources with him, but he also annexed certain areas of Punjab, and Babur felt that he was the rightful heir to these areas. So after capturing the fort at Bhira, Babur sends letters to Daulat Khan and also to Ibrahim Lodi to cede their territories to him and to recognize him as the ruler, the emperor. But they don't take him very seriously. Daulat Khan, in fact, stops Babur's envoy from going any further than Lahore. The same year, Babur returns back to Kabul. In 1520, Babur again moves towards India and he captures Sialkot. He also seizes Lahore. 1523 में Behlul Lodi's son Alam Khan and also Daulat Khan's son Dilawar Khan both meet Babur and ask him for his help to overthrow the rule of Ibrahim Lodi. 1525 में जब बाबर पेशावर में थे, he gets the news that Daulat Khan had again changed sides. He had started collecting army and he had amassed about 30,000 to 40,000 men, and now he was marching towards Lahore to capture it. 1525 में when Babur was in Peshawar, he gets the news that Daulat Khan had again changed sides, and not only had he ousted Babur's men from Sialkot, he had started gathering an army and he had amassed about 30 to 40,000 men, and now he was marching towards Lahore. When Babur came face to face with Daulat Khan and his army, Daulat Khan submitted and Babur also accepted him, but he downgraded him. So from the position of a governor, he was downgraded to the position of a zamindar. So now Babur was becoming a real threat to Ibrahim Lodi, and Ibrahim marched to meet Babur at Panipat, and he was accompanied by 100,000 soldiers who were part of the cavalry and an additional 1,000 elephants. Babur had also crossed the river Indus with 12,000 men, which is a very less number when you compare it to Ibrahim Lodi's army, but he was joined by the army that he had left behind in Hindustan when he had come to capture Sialkot and Lahore, and subsequently he was also joined by a number of Hindustani nobles and their armies who also wanted to end Ibrahim Lodi's rule. But even so, Babur's forces were not really a numerical match for that of Ibrahim Lodi's. But what Babur lacked in, let's say, the strength of his army, he made up for by using his wit. Now, he had limited resources, limited cavalry, and to fully utilize his situation, he rested one wing of his army towards Panipat, towards the settled area of Panipat, and on the other side, he built an artificial ditch. Towards the front of his formation, he placed carts in which you could then place cannons, and carts pe hi there were resting platforms where the cavalry could also put their smaller guns. Additionally, the carts in front of the formation acted as an additional defensive formation. It acted like a wall. Now, even though Babur used guns during the Battle of Panipat, his officers and ordinary soldiers took enormous risk to fire at the same time as they were riding. So while they were riding their horses, they were firing guns and shooting arrows at the army of Ibrahim Lodi. This battle formation used by Babur was adopted from the Turkish Ottomans, who had used this in their battle against Shah Ismail of Iran. Or Ottoman se hi Babur had employed two master gunners. They were Ustad Ali and Mustafa. Now, the use of guns in battle was a very novel thing for Babur, and that is what gave him a lot of plus points. Now, ऐसा नहीं है कि Indian subcontinent में guns का किसी को पता नहीं था या फिर guns and gunpowder was not used, but the formal use of guns on a large scale by the artillery was brought by Babur. Additionally, Babur's army was so well organized that even during retreat they were not scattering and not running here and there. So they were very organized going into battle and also retreating.
Ibrahim Lodi had no idea of how strongly defended Babur was, and he thought that Babur would use that the mobile mode of warfare, which is very prevalent in Central Asia, but that was not the case. Even Ibrahim's army, when they saw Babur's strength and his positioning, they too hesitated. While Ibrahim was still reorganizing his army, the two extreme ends of Babur's army, they wheeled around and they attacked him and his army. And they were attacking from both side and rear. And Babur's gunners, they used guns from the front side, but Babur gives a lot of importance to his bowmen. So the archers played a very important role when it comes to Babur's victory in this in the Battle of Panipat. The Battle of Panipat raged for 2 to 3 hours, and Ibrahim Lodi, he fought till his last. According to Abdul Qadir Badawani, so many soldiers were killed during this battle that the whole area of Panipat was haunted. Also, the Battle of Panipat is regarded as one of the most decisive battles that India has seen. It broke the backbone of the Lodi dynasty. It killed Ibrahim Lodi, and with this came a new dynasty called the Mughal dynasty, and Babur became its first emperor. We hope that you have liked today's episode. Please like, share and subscribe, and keep watching Tareekh. And do not forget to click on the subscribe button.
And hit the bell icon.